the first episode of our level designing, okay? And I'm going to try and talk as slow and as calm as possible because I don't usually do this. But recently, I began to think that I should start sharing my idea out to the world because it's selfish to have an idea. It's selfish to have an idea, selfish to know a skill, and then you keep it to yourself. So here I am, guys, and I'm going to try my best to give you guys the most understandable tutorial and shortest. We're going to be taking these classes in sections so you won't get tired or get bored. Okay? When it comes to a very long section, we're going to be taking breaks in between so you could rest. But in today's tutorial, in today's episode, we're only going to be dealing with setting our environment for the terrain. So for those of you that have gotten a project, I kept my description below. If you've not gotten it, check my description. It's going to be there. For every different tutorial we're doing, I'm going to include a project for it. So in this tutorial, we're dealing with my first official circle games kit. Okay. Yes, it contains going to be dealing with 3 worlds. Alright, I've already made one world alone by myself to check out things and be sure everything is working. And I'm also going to teach you guys the remaining 2. Okay, everything is based on universal render pipeline. Alright, so this project, you don't have to worry about setting anything. That's why I gave you guys this project. Just get the same native version with me or a little bit higher, and then follow with me or follow along with the tutorial. Alright, so now I want you to go to the art set. First of all, if you are not familiar with what is that, what is down here, you could go and make things clear. Sorry, you could go on by creating a folder to make things clear, and then you can move in everything here into there. Okay, so let me do that now. So we could begin afresh. Okay, come on. Art set. Okay. Mm, oh, accepted. What's this? Everything should be inside. Okay. We're just going to wait for it to. Okay. So now, after creating this folder, I want you to enter into the folder and right click. Okay. I'm going to create. Just follow my. I'm going to create a graph now for the terrain. We're going to start the tutorial with mapmagic, and then later on we go into other tutorials like Terra World. So go to mapmagic and create an empty graph. You use template graph. Template graphs are already made templates of terrain. I think there are about 3 or 4. Well, you don't really need it. You don't really need it because those graphs definitely have been used by someone else. So you should try and make yours unique. And how do we do that? Create an empty graph. Follow my steps. We already have all the necessary assets needed to make a good terrain. Quite a good terrain, but not that big, but quite a good terrain. So we'll create your graph, name it whatever you want to name it, whether dark forest, desert, sand, X, whatever you want to name it, just name it. So I'm going to name mine. I'm doing it because I don't want you to follow me. Obviously, I know you're not going to follow me to write meat, right? Good. So when you're done with that, put it into the drag it into the main scene and wait for it to load. The system might be very fast, so yours might have already loaded. Alright, so now we have our terrain, which is basically ready. So here is the map magic object. This is the map magic script where you get to do all the handling of the terrain. You have the tiles. This is what you use to pin tiles. Understand? This is what you use to pin tiles. If you want to pin a new tile, you simple click on the pin tiles and then left click. If you want to remove it, you come back here, remove. So originally you could make this to have draft terrains. You can make these terrains to have draft terrain. It's already set to that originally. Once the game enters play mode, a draft terrain is going to be created along the side of this main terrain in order to create an endless world. Okay, it's already placed on loop. So the more the person keeps on going, as long as this loop is kept in check and the person exists this main terrain, a draft terrain will become a present terrain, and then the previous terrain will become a draft terrain. It does this in order to save memory space when used. You can also go into settings to reduce the range at which these draft terrains are generated. But for this tutorial, I'm going to be disabling it because I want to focus on just one terrain. So disable generates infinite terrain, and you can leave this. Okay. So tile setting, you check what you want, your size. I'm going to drop it down to 500. Okay, this is the size of the main resolution. You could make it higher as you want depending on your system. And then for the draft, the draft should be something like this, so you can take it lower if you want. But this is the resolution for the draft. The one that is going to be appearing real, but it's not real. So next, we are going to go into terrain properties. This is where you do your terrain properties, and yeah, this is where you don't really need to. You don't need that for now. Okay, now let's go into doing something. Let's go into actually doing something. Go to the map graph. If you haven't done the map, if you don't know where it is, close it, come here. All right, you just left click on this icon and it brings out the map graph. Then you position it anywhere you like. Yeah, I like to keep it down here. I don't just know, I just like it. So once you've done that, right click and let's start with creating a noise. Let's use a noise. A noise is one of the easiest ways to create a random shaped object. So let's start with the noise, and our noise needs an output. Let's go straight to the point, which is the output height. Okay, height. Okay, there you go. There you go. We already have a pretty good terrain. I disconnected the sorry. We have a pretty good terrain, alright. You can see the more I change it, the more it changes. This is the intensity. Tend to make it this way, tend to drop it. It's your choice. So I'm going to leave it on 1. And the size, depending on the reducing it, the more makes it look so rough, but increasing it makes it look so smooth. Again, so I'm going to leave it as this. Okay, too rough. So just put it anyhow you want to put yours. Okay, and then the details. Details deals with how much smoothness is given to the terrain. For me, I would not like smoothness. So turbulence, you don't really need that for now. You don't really need that for now. Just leave it as it is. Alright, so now we want to make this terrain look more realistic and give it a more nice looking output. In order to do that, you know that terrains, you know that terrains usually observe erosion. So let's see if this map magic has what we call erosion. Erosion, yes, it has erosion. So notice the differences now. You can see it looks like sands. You can see the difference. It looks like sands being eroded from the mountain. So you could increase the iteration, make it look more sharper. See, and you could reduce it, make it look more dense. So leave it at 6. I'll leave mine at 6. And then durability doesn't really okay, you notice the difference now. It makes it look so spiky. So just reuse it low. Alright, this is okay. Sediments. Sediments is like the sand. What was eroded, what was left off the erosion. That's what sediments means. So let's make it a little bit high. Alright. So you can see without doing a texture, my terrain is already looking like a desert. Alright, so that being done, let's go into putting a texture to our terrain. Objects, sorry, output texture. Okay, okay. Now search for grass. It can be sand if you want sand, search for sand. You will get textures inside this project that I've given you guys. Don't click and wait for it to load. Here you go. You have yourself your terrain. So that is for today's class, guys. I want you guys to take a break and join the next class. The next class we're going to go into more details of how to make this terrain look realistic. I'm sorry because I'm still a beginner in YouTubing. I don't have good experience in sharing content on YouTube. So please try to cope with me and understand. If you don't understand me, please drop a comment and I'll be try my best to speak more fluently. Alright, so that's it guys. See you in the next video. Have a nice day.